Howdy, everyone. Welcome to the grand finale webinar of 2019. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and you are looking forward to the new year. That you are here with us, joining us, rocking it out all the way through the ending of the year. Yes, well, for those who might be catching the replay at some point, this is our weekly Monetize Your Skills community webinar, Strategic Secrets Academy and University weekly training where we get on here and share, different strategies to succeed in different areas of our lives. And we do this every single Thursday. And we've been doing this for now 2 years. Can you believe it? 2 full years. And so we're going to be going on into year number 3 beginning on next week. But this is the final, this is the grand finale. This is the last. This is it. Punto final nada más ese todo for 2019. And so I just want to thank you so much for being a part of this community and for, spending your time each week coming on here. Hello, Barbara. How you doing? Good evening. Melissa. By the way, our winner for last week's giveaway was Melissa Neal. Melissa, I hope you're enjoying your journal and you are ready for our 2020 visionary plan that we're going to be doing on next week. So stay tuned for the end for that. But I'm letting you know right now that at the end of this, I'm going to remind you that on next Thursday, which is the first Thursday, the first webinar of 2020, we will be doing a joint collaborative visionary strategy session together where we're going to be planning out our year. I'm going to give you tools and strategies. We're going to actually write down our goals, visions, dreams, and strategies on accomplishing our big goals for the year. So stay tuned for that. Let me get some water here. Thank you. So what gifts did you guys get for the holidays? I'm not on my phone. I need to, where's my phone? So I can more better communicate with those who are on. I dropped it somewhere. And by the way, we're going to be trying to do this live next week in the sense of course, I'm live here in my office, but I'm going to be trying to do this next week. We're going to do our best to set up with camera and internet, but I want to do this actually at my church next week. We're going to be, in a little room, and then I'm going to invite a few members so we can do it live. I want to do it with them and have a board behind me where we're going to be writing and doing all of that. But as you know, there's a better way to set and achieve goals than just having resolution. Most people's resolution actually fail by January the 15th. We don't want that. We want to go through strategically goal setting and achievement and for different aspects and areas of our life. So I'm going to share with you how to, segment out your year, how to divide it into different sections and be able to accomplish a whole lot. And so just this last quarter alone, praise God, right now here we have our 2 journals that are available. Our vision journal, which by the way, if you haven't had one yet, this will be good. You will need a journal or something to write in on next week, Thursday. So there's still time to get these now at strategicsecrets.com/books. Or you just get something at the store locally where you at. But we don't want to just have this stuff in our mind. This is actually going to be exercise. Okay, we're going to be the whole training next week is all going to be exercises. So I want to make sure that you are there. So please make sure that you get a journal, get something to write in, a notebook, a notepad, but why not make it elaborate? So I've already gotten mine. So nice hardcover, right? So the reason I again publish these is so we can have stuff to write in for the year. I use a lot of journals. I've shared with you several of my journals. I got about 15 of them still that I have access to. But I created these. I haven't written in them yet. I just, I gifted these for myself. So right here on the front, I have, it written out to myself as a gift for the new year. Actually, those are those right here. So we're going to be strategic. I'm going to share with you again. This is how I plan my goals and dreams and visions and ideas for anything, whether it's church related, whether it's personal life, health, and other things. You have to write it down. Write the vision and make it plain, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. Visionary. And what is visionary? Visionary is engineering your dreams and vision, bringing them into fruition or reality. It is not just simply about wishing and hoping. It's about strategically doing something to achieve certain outcomes. And that's why we call this strategic secrets. We have to be strategic in every single thing we do. Anyhow, let's get into it for today. For those of you who already want to jump on this, let me give you the link here. It's going to be www.strategicsecrets.com/vision2020/vision2020. I'm putting it in the chat right here. So you can share this link with your friends, family members, whoever have you, so they can be part of it. We want to make it open to absolutely anyone. Is there a cost for it? Well, I'll let you know up front. You can give whatever you want to give for it. That's fine. Or the best thing is simply get a journal. And I would hope you'd get one from us, so that way you're supporting the vision and mission of Strategic Seekers. But if not, that's all gravy as well. We're not pressuring anyone here, but you should go down at least to your local bookstore or whatever, Walmart, wherever you go, to get a journal, a book, something. But ours, we've made these specifically for our purposes already, for being strategic and tactical. So this will help to guide you through with that. So it's best if you get one from Strategic Secrets. Okay, but we want to grow our platform. There's a lot of technologies that we are trying to improve upon for the year. There's a lot of other things that we're trying to do. So of course, we always appreciate your support. So if you would like to enroll officially in the Vision 2020, you can go to strategicsecrets.com/vision2020. It's right here. And there you go. So it's not a cost as in something that's going to be a burden on you. It's pretty much you put in whatever you think you can get out of it. So whatever you want to give towards the cause, it's greatly appreciated. Anyhow, so let's get into our topic for today. Today we are discussing two things. One is we're going to be doing a review of 2019, and we're going to make some predictions for 2020 as we go forward. Okay, so I'm going to cover different aspects of things, of course, but primarily we're dealing with how we are making an impact as professionals, entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, using especially technology. So that's one of the things that we feel that today is the biggest paradigm shift. So let's start with that. I wrote a few things down here. So in 2019, even with Strategic Secrets, we'll talk about some of that as well. So make sure you stick around, because this affects you, whichever way you look at it, is going to affect your life. So we want to make sure that we are on the front end and not on the back end. We should be the head and not the tail. We should be the wise ones and not foolish ones. Okay. So in 2020, we continue to see the paradigm shift in the digital world or the digital age. So there's a lot of transformation that took place, and that's been happening ever since we wrote the book Monetize Your Skills. That was actually my research project for my master's degree, where I studied and researched this trend that is taking place in the digital world, but the opportunities that also comes with it. Great opportunities where anyone with any skill, any gift, any talent, whether it be education, expertise, and experiences, can be able to create products, programs, services, and put them online and be able to monetize those. So we looked at that trend, and we saw that big time in 2019. So, for example, we continue to see many stores that are closed, especially on the retail section, for many of big brands out there that were closing or facing a lot of financial losses. You look at Sears, you look at Toys R Us, and some of the other big ones out there that were in the news. We see closures from so many of them. JCPenney's I love to shop at JCPenney's. Actually, most of my suits, I get them from JCPenney's. But we see a lot of closures because of the trend in technology. We saw many bookstores, Lifeway Christian bookstores, Family Christian bookstores, many denominational bookstores, ABCs, closing down because of the trend of technology and the change or the paradigm shift in people's buying behaviors that most of these organizations were not privy to, or they did not position themselves ahead of the curve. That's why I'm telling you that we must pay attention to trends, because if we're not able to change quickly with the trend, what's going to happen is we can be left in the dust, and it can really adversely affect our lives. Think of the many people who lost their jobs because the companies failed to see the trend or failed to actually preempt what they should do with that knowledge and data concerning the trend. So we saw that. We saw again it affected schools, it affected stores, it affected even places of worship. Okay, so there's a continued decline in church attendance and church physically going to a building. Not entirely in the sense of people are necessarily less spiritual, though that is happening. But the part of the challenge is because again of technology. People no longer have to wait once or twice a week to be fed spiritual information. People want knowledge right now and information at the speed of light, and many places of worship have not, caught up again to this trend. And so therefore we see a lot of people who are waiting for people to come to them. But in this day and age, people can access information and they don't have to necessarily come to a place physically to receive instruction. That's another reason why we see many schools, especially schools of faith, they are closing down for the very same reason, because now knowledge and information and education is totally accessible online. And so this trend is not going to die down. We see more of that as our cover in the predictions for 2020. Another thing is because of the digital age as well, we saw that more money was made online than ever before in one day, plus, especially when it came to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and so forth. But one of the articles that, if you saw, for Alibaba, which is in China, one of the top lead e-commerce websites in the world, even probably giving Amazon stiff competition. But they had a one-day sale in November. I think it's November 11th. I can share the link on those, but it's on Forbes and many of the main tech websites, Adobe and others that tracks technology and e-commerce in particular, that does a lot of research on that. So let me pull it up here. I did email a few of those articles to myself, but let's start first with Alibaba. So Alibaba is kind of like an Amazon of China. Alibaba is where, I mean, you can outsource any product you probably imaginable, and many of the companies in the U.S. actually outsource and get their products through Alibaba or AliExpress. Okay, so let's see here real quick. I want to give you the exact figures that were made. Let's look at them. Okay, 2019 online sales figures. So I'm going to bring up some of these. Okay, so let's start with, again, Alibaba's 11/11, November 11, single day by the numbers. So as far as their record sale, they did over $38 billion in a 24-hour period. Can you imagine that? 30 $38.4 billion in 24 hours. So again, it says here, I'm reading from Forbes, the 11th edition of Singles Day, the world's biggest shopping event center, Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba set a new sales record of $38.4 billion in 24 hours, selling more than half of what Amazon sells in an entire quarter. So we see, I know in America, Amazon is killing Walmart, Target, all these stores. Amazon is one of the main dominant leader in the e-commerce space in the United States. But here it says that even in one day, Alibaba in China did more than what Amazon did combined for an entire quarter. And even though also they do great when it comes to Cyber Monday, Amazon, and Black Friday, it's Alibaba did even more than Amazon did. So it says here, Amazon, for instance, reported 70 billions in the last 4 hours, according to the company's figures. So here you see right here, technology again is changing the game, and people's buying behavior have changed. And so this is one of the trend that we see prominent in 2019, and it's going to be growing in 2020 and beyond. More and more people will be shopping digitally, and that means that we must begin to see whether you are nonprofit, donations, learning to accept donation in the digital world, not just simply even just having it on your website, but being able to utilize things like Cash App and Venmo and different PayPal, all these different payment strategies. People are now utilizing different means of and transactions. And so we have to begin to see that and get on the ball, in other words. So keep that in mind. So again, Cyber Mondays and Black Friday are generally some of the biggest sales dates as well, sales figures in the US. So let's look at a few here. Retail winners and losers for 2019. E-commerce retailers killed it this Black Friday with digital sales up nearly 20%. This is 2019 now, reaching 7.4 billion across 4,500 retail websites that Adobe Analytics tracked. It became the second largest online shopping day in history, eclipsed by only Cyber Monday last year, 2018, when 7.9 billion in in sales were done. So as we see here, in one day, you look at how much sale is being made online now. It eclipsed. Now, this is very important. I don't think entirely we will ever get rid of anything brick and mortar in its entirety. Just like digital books are outdoing print books, but it doesn't mean print books will go away entirely. But it means, therefore, that that is the main bread and winner for many things and many companies. So the same thing with a retail company that is brick and mortar, meaning a physical store, they have to take into consideration the digital. So, in other words, you can technically survive without a physical presence, but you cannot survive only on just a physical presence. So, in other words, it behooves any company, organization, business, or ministry, right, or nonprofit organization to have both the physical component and a digital component or online space, because without that, you will pretty much one, be leaving money on the table, two, be leaving, getting left in the dust, because things are just changing, and they're changing rapidly. So that is one of the trends that we're noticing. Another thing that we notice, for those in the faith-based community, is that we saw a great assault on religion, and in particular Christianity, where we see, according to Barna Research and the Pew Research, places like China, Nigeria, and other places, we saw a lot of persecution of people of faith. In the West, especially, there's a sharp decline in religion as a whole, and Christianity in particular, and that many people are disassociating themselves from any so-called organized religion. That folks have an issue with denominational labels and titles, and that trend is actually going to increase more in 2020 and beyond. So places of worship need to understand and see what's happening. And it's not only because people are just getting, to be more secular, though that is a major contributor, but we have to look at it from all angles. One of the competing factors, again, is technology that folks can access, and folks are no longer, because the mindset have changed. And so many people don't see the necessity of gathering for information. So the reason for gathering must be different, because people are still going out. People are going to movies, places, sports arenas, and so forth, and concerts. And so people are still going out and gathering. But the reason for which they're gathering is different. And the church's reason for gathering primarily, it has to make a shift, or have to include other things, if it's going to stay on the competitive edge in 2020, or will continue to be bleeding and losing members and attendees. Because for one, people again do not need necessarily the church as a whole. Now, I'm not saying that the church is not relevant. I'm a minister. But the point is this: people do not have to wait for information from the church. And the church also is silent also on many topics. So people can find those information quickly. If they need devotional information, they need to know about any subject matter, they don't have to wait on a pastor, priest, or bishop, or anything like that. They can find the information online. They can, especially with videos, they can access the best minds and the best sermons and teachings from all around the world, whether it be in sermon form, in courses. All of these things are now decentralized, whereas in the past it used to be in a centralized location, i.e., the church. So no longer do people have to wait on the church to get those materials. So the church now has to begin to shift. The reason for attendance is not just simply to receive a sermon. If it's just that, then folks can make the argument, and the young folks in particular, millennials, if I have to wait every once a week, every 7 days or so, to be able to gain spiritual information, then I'm dying. And I can get that information. So they're generally fed before they come to church. And so not only that, but if their favorite preachers are available online, then why come and hear someone that they feel is boring or may not be a great preacher? And so we have these competing things. So again, there are pros and cons to everything. Secondarily, even many churches now that are trying to implement media and online streaming and so forth, one of the other argument is, if I can watch it online, why should I show up present to see it in person? And it is a reasonable argument. So we have to redefine and recalibrate the necessity of gathering together. And why we gather together has to be more than simply information exchange. And I think one of the best thing is looking at the fellowship component, and because no matter what, we need social interaction. So there are pros and cons. And so that's one of the predictions too of 2020, where we're going to have more mental health problems because of our disconnect and because of the lack of social interaction. But again, it's becoming a norm for people to not have physical interactions, but nonetheless, there's a psychological, emotional, mental, spiritual, physical drawback to that that only time will tell. So keep that in mind there. Now, let's see here. Let's talk a little bit about us, strategic secrets. So for 2019, we kind of tried something new versus 2018 and 17. We heavily dealt with a lot of content creation in the form of written information, blogs, and so forth in 2017 and 18. And even prior years, I used to be doing Facebook lives. We did a lot of Facebook lives. We were doing every Tuesday also Monetize Your Skills show, which was very, very good. But in 2019, we decided to focus more on just our website, and we cut back on that. So there were some ramifications for that. We didn't do some key things, like we didn't do a lot of online streaming on Facebook. In particular, Facebook Lives, YouTube Lives, we didn't do that, though this is live. So what we tried to do was, because one of the things is trying to speak specifically to people who are interested in this type of information and not just speaking to the masses. So I figured that maybe it's best to focus on just a few rather than trying to reach the many. And so that was good, and that was also bad in the sense of, I think, because again, people are consuming information faster and they need more of it. So I think that we probably should have kept up the Facebook Live so we can have more presence with our followers. They can see us more often, and we could have probably done more short videos in, again, similar to, instead of waiting once a week every Thursday for that content. Or one thing I regret that also cost us revenue was we didn't blog as much. Now we put out and rehashed a few of our articles, but 2018, 17, 16, we heavily blogged, and that really was a big win. It helped us to grow our email list tremendously by a couple thousands actually, and it created revenue opportunity because of affiliate promotions and recommending different products, programs, and services. So this year in 2019, actually, I don't even think, well, maybe lately, I think we did get back into trying to recommend one or two products, but that's again because I was trying to focus on our own thing. But I think going forward in 2020, you will see us blogging. I think blogging and content creation must be part of what we do. So we're going to be going back to creating more blog posts and speaking more on different products and programs that are beneficial to our community and not simply our own products. So that was a huge income driver for us in 2018 and previous years. But in 2019, we did not really make when it comes to income primarily through affiliate marketing. So that was a drawback. Courses creation, I think we could have created one or two courses in 2019 because we did have the time to do it. And so we pretty much tried to just, again, recommend the courses that we had made. And so you have to do that as well. But I think, people today just want more. That's really the thing. Folks are consuming information very rapidly. So one has to keep up with the pace of that. Now, of course, you don't want to get to the point where now you just creating any type of content or not relevant content. But I think one of the ways to succeed in the online space is creating more of whatever you have. So, but we did create more books, and so that was a big success. In 2018, we published 3 books in a short period of time. I think we did that in the summer, and here in the last quarter, here we created 3 books as well. And so we see that we have the capacity to ramp up. So what we would like to be able to do is to create more content. I think one of our strengths actually is content creation, meaning that we can create information for people to consume because they want the material, they want the information, and that is one of our strengths. I think we can create a lot of content. So I would like to see us as a team. And what we're trying to do now is to get on a monthly subscription program, which would allow us to, because what happened is when you create a product, there's a lot of promotion that has to go along with it. And sometimes it's not always beneficial to create multiple products because they can compete with each other. So again, those are pros and cons. But what we would like to do, I think, going forward in 2020, is we so that we don't have to spend so much time on our marketing and promotion efforts, meaning that for each product, then you gotta on the back end once it's created, whether it's a book, a course, or any physical or digital product, after you create it, if you create an online course, then you have to promote it. You have to let people know, and you got to give them time to consume it before you put another one before them. And so that's another reason why I kind of like working by quarter. So if you do, whether it's 3 or 4 months, we can probably do 3 or 4 months, create a product, and 3 to 4 months you have that product release, then you go on to another one for the next 3 or 4 months, so you can create about 3 or 4 products per year. And so, but if we as a community and with your help, if we can get what we call ambassadors, strategic secret ambassadors, what we want to do is have a monthly program where you are paying like a monthly support kind of a thing. And with that, now we will just be free to create the content that you want. And not only that, but you can tell us what you want to know, what you want to learn. We create the book for you, we create the course for you, we create whatever. And so I think that's really what our main strength is going to be. Otherwise, in the future, what we do is we'll divide into two. We'll have our main core thing at Strategic Secrets is product creation, and then we will just partner, find a suitable promotion and marketing team or company to do all of our marketing. So it's one of the two. But right now, I feel the best thing we can do is focus on what we are good at, because not only that, but I think based on what's happening in our culture, society, and in the West in particular, is that we need, especially people of faith, entrepreneurs, and so forth, we need relevant material that will help us to be educated on the things that matter. Because our goal here is not just economic success. We are trying to help you to succeed in those areas, to be successful, because these are not the things that are being taught in the faith-based space. We want you to be successful so you can make an impact in the kingdom. You see, when the world is in authority in the area of finance, in the area of spirituality, counseling, these type of things, politics, and all of these, what happened is the voice of people like yourself gets silent. And not only that, but we become more secularized and humanized. And so that is a drawback to having on the girth by spiritual content and content that will be more intrinsic and rather versus extrinsic. And so I think that you, our listeners and viewers, you are the key to the future, but we need to give you the right knowledge and information. And so, one of the things we've done as well is we created another outreach arm, which is called Strategic Secrets Academy. So, Strategic Secrets University is for adults. Strategic Secrets Academy now is for young people and children. And the motto again is simple, one that we all kind of know and can relate to: wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So we've already developed a series on that where we tackle, divine wisdom in any area of our life. And we're going to be rolling out content again for each of those. So that's really what we want. We want to put that knowledge and information in. How do you govern your relationships? How do you govern your health? How do you govern your career, right? How do you govern your academics, like being super smart? Like, how do we, with all the information and knowledge out there, how can we consume information quickly so we become smarter in a shorter period of time without having to even commit to time being in a classroom or being in a 4-year program like a college and so forth? All of those things are being phased out because the reality is things and times are changing. And yes, it's not always for the better, but we have to position ourselves for the better and not run from it. One of the things of people like us, again, they say evil persists when good people sit down and do nothing or say nothing. So we got to take the bull by the horns, as it were, and begin to teach our own people how to parent effectively, how to grow wealth, how to develop economic systems and protocols, and that we can be able to benefit, not just simply, only focus on one thing, getting out of debt, though that is good. We got to do that. But most of the people, again, only know one or two things, whether it's giving or and just getting out of debt. And that's about it. That's all that's being taught. But there's more to it. You have to prosper. And the fastest way to get out of debt, matter of fact, in my opinion, is to make more money. Because if you are paying bare minimum, it's going to take you forever to be out of debt. And that's why people can't focus on budgeting and those things, because it's so restrictive and it takes a long time. It's easy to get into debt, but it's a long time to get out of it. But one of the reasons is because we are working and operating on outdated systems or just a one-track way. Strategic Secrets want to bring you strategies and from multiple perspectives, because everybody, we all think differently. But we want to bring you strategies and protocols that will empower you and enable you to be able to build wealth, to be able to not just only get out of debt, but get out of debt fast, to be able to know how to invest, how to save, how to leave generational wealth. That is actually a biblical protocol that most of us ignore. We like to just focus on thinking that we're going to live foot to mouth, hand to mouth, and so forth. But you cannot change a community and a culture without economics. And that's why the people of the world are winning over the people of faith. Why? Because they understand economics. The golden rule principle is not just simply do good unto others as you would have them do unto you, but the golden rule is the one who controls the goals make the rules. The one who controls the goal makes the rules. And so if you think about it, anyone and any entity, organization who controls the wealth is empowered to make the decision, shape our thinking, and so forth. You cannot go to a poor community and just preach to them, be nice. That's not going to work. You cannot lift the poor community out of poverty with just words. It must be economic engines and systems and protocols that will enable that community. And that's why places of worship, many nonprofits today, are becoming irrelevant. Why? Because they cannot transform the community around them, because they themselves lack resources. As we've seen, the trend is what? Decline in all of these places. And so therefore we must begin to think different. We want to help you and give you the tools and resources necessary to actually become more relevant. So yeah, on a personal level, of course, we created more. We have okay, we published books. We position ourselves in 2020 to succeed. We have invested heavily in some technology to run our online enterprises for 2020. I told you about one being GoofCart. And that's another reason, by the way, why we did also kind of cut back a little bit on in 2019, because we did invest in another software program in 20 at the end of 2018. We spent a couple thousands of dollars to develop this new website that we have, and the community space, the classrooms and so forth. And so we kind of were analyzing to see how that worked. But I think with this new engine that we have, it's probably going to be much better. For one, we don't have a monthly fee that we have to keep paying, so we invested in just owning it outright. So that way we can develop unlimited pages, unlimited membership stuff, so forth. Our current stuff, though it's good, helps us to do funnels, do everything, but there's a monthly cost for that. Hence, another reason why we need your help to help us with these monthly fees, so that way we can focus on our content creation. Any questions? Another thing is that we focused on is credit mastery. Okay, so as I shared with you again, all of us go through this journey, and I've been on this financial journey for quite a while. Actually, when I first commit myself to being in the nonprofit world and faith-based community in particular, I I thought my mission was really helping people to free people economically, because that was the biggest obstacle and the biggest problem I saw when I came into the church, is that, you know, the church was not really helping people meet their economic needs. And the only thing you hear in regards to finances was pretty much give more through tithes and offering. Like that was it. But I saw people struggling, I saw people suffering, and it required resources. And most of the churches, at least the ones that I were part of, were never able to break the barrier, to be able to make a dent in the lives of people. So that's what I was focusing on. But anyhow, like many of you, I got into, so now I started looking for answers myself. And so I found a few things. But what happened to me was I figured, and I started adopting the mentality of simply focusing on debt, which I am a big proponent still. I still believe that one of the biggest strategic advantages that we can have going forward in the future is to minimize our debt and to own things. But we cannot have a total antagonistic view of debt, because we are living in the West, and it's not, debt is really and truly not the problem. We are the problem, right? Just like money itself is not the problem, because money is a neutral thing. So what happened is, because my focus became primarily on debt, what happened, even for 7 years, like I said, we did not use one iota of debt or credit or anything for 7 years. And so I know it's possible. So but we took that extreme view, and so we were totally, have nothing to do with debt, no credit cards, no nothing like that. And it's possible in the West. Trust me, it is. And so we lived comfortably. We did fairly well. But even so, after a while, because I hadn't used no credit, my credit score, I mean, it became nothing. So much so that when we needed a house, now that became a little problem, because even though I thought it would have been advantageous. Hey, we haven't been using that 7 years, we're debt free. You should actually be blessing us and thanking us for managing our monies wisely. But it's like, no, that's not how our world works. So, Mr. Chance, yes, you were on time with all your bills, you were doing that and so forth, but you don't have a credit score. You haven't used credit for so long that your credit score is blank. So, in other words, when you type in my name, it will show up blank, zero, nothing on there. So I thought that was positive and that was good. And in many cases, if you can live without it, I still say it's still the best. But as far as building wealth in the West in particular, that's not the best approach. And so I had to work my way back up, because, prior to adopting that philosophy and mindset when I was in the military, I had a great, perfect credit. So for the first time, again, in recent years, just recently, we got back up to 800 credit score, which I feel is good, and that's helpful. because now we're understanding the money game, and it's not simply about debt. Because if you just focus on that, then you will be missing out on other things. But now, because of mastering the credit game, we are now able to have access to even more resources. And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. If you change your mindset and have multiple teachers, so there are situations and different people based on the situation you are in, then you adapt the model that's best for you based on where you are, but not simply this one system or strategy has to be for every single person. That's why we like to teach you variety of different ways. So here, if all your focus right now is on debt, this is the strategy that you use. If you focus it on wealth building, this is the strategy that you use. If you need to know about investing, hey, this is the person that you should listen to because they are doing it effectively. So that's kind of what we're saying, because everybody is different. If you want to lose weight, there's some people whose body type, body image might be a little more difficult than others. So you can't just say, well, I'm going to use just this one person, because it might not work for you. Their system might not work for you, but another person's system. Because again, in the weight loss and health space, there are many different approaches to it. Okay. So what's the best one? The best one is the one that will work for you and your situation and your problem. So let me give a shout out here, Melissa. How you doing, Sindel? Thank you, Sindel, for being on with us. Pastor K, good to see you, woman of God, powerful woman there. May the Lord bless you and your ministry as you go forward in this new year, and also the success on your books and programs. Dr. Cooper is on here. Shout out to you always. By the way, we really appreciate your support throughout the past couple of years, and working and helping you as well has been a blessing, and we appreciate what you're doing, Barbara, a member of my church actually here. Barbara is a big supporter, and so good to see you on here this evening, Barbara. Okay, so but also you notice too, in 2019 we took some strategies again that were not based on the previous people that we learned from in economics, but we followed someone, Don Daniel, and he is someone that I'm actually going to be working closely with in 2020 as well. But he just released a book that did awesome on Amazon. We were able to give him some tips on that as well, but he was able to achieve bestseller, not just simply working the algorithms, but actually did phenomenal, sold many copies of his books. And now we want to take his programs again now and leverage them online, because he has a lot. But that's someone I also recommend, that if you want to learn about economics and how money really works, you should check out Don Daniel and the pill method. So but we used some of his strategies to help pay off our church mortgage, and so that was a blessing in 2019. That positions us now going forward in 2020, because now that our personal church mortgage is paid off, that frees us up in many ways. For one, the pressure is not there, and number two, but we can commit more resources, more of our means now. All that was going to the mortgage now, we I think have like 65% or more probably going into our mortgage. I mean our evangelism and outreach. And so that's what we say. And if you have an organization, it's a business or ministry, if you are able to, so they see, instead of saying we avoided debt, what we say, no, we want to reduce the debt so we can put more of the income in other things that are beneficial. So it's not just simply, oh, I want to be able to, because what we notice is that when your mindset is just about becoming, staying debt free or having no debt, you actually focus on limitations and lack. And that's really what I think was happening. And so that's why I'm for now, yes, balance in all things, moderation, not just in health, but even in finances. So because if we begin to just think of cutting back, we do that in all of our life, and that's what I'm saying. You know, and hear me carefully here, folks. Okay, I'm not. We're going to be teaching more on finances. By the way, I'm actually reading a book. I'm actually not even just reading a book, taking a course. Where is it? Oh yeah. Just had the thing here. Okay, here we go. So, look, you see, that's what I'm saying. I'm a student, I'm a practitioner of what I'm talking about here. So I'm looking at, here's a course I'm taking. It's Money by Design, right? Student edition. So you see, I'm still learning. I am actually growing myself. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not waiting for anyone or a church to teach you these things, because they don't. See? So here's a whole book, Money by Design. There's a whole DVD course that goes along with it. Nice workbook. And I mean, this dude is touching, and he's a man of faith, but he advises, government officials. He um, teaches the best of the best out there, and so forth. But he's sharing and teaching from the faith-based perspective of why we need to master economics, especially now in these turbulent times. Anyways, let me go into a little bit more on what to come. What can you expect going in 2020? So I wrote some things down here. Uh, by the way, if you have any tips, let us know, or specific questions. Okay. Now let's see here. 2020. Well, here's some predictions. I predict that in 2020 there's going to be more decline in places of worship and places of faith-based attendance. Again, for those of you who may be on here who are not more faith-based, I understand that. But again, we help to empower people of faith, entrepreneurs, professionals, ministry leaders, so that they can make an impact around the world, not simply in their home or in their own little community. But you're going to see that, because what we're seeing right now is a sharp decline. Again, go out there, just type in Google Christianity decline in the West or in America or in Europe, and we're going to see more of that. And there are multiple reasons for that, folks. We probably need to have a discussion on that, but there are some folks on here who are in ministry that can tackle those kind of questions. But you have to analyze, why is it that people are not being attracted to the church? And it's not just only because they're secular and so forth. That's how we kind of put it back on them. No, if you are business and your business was not attracting people, how long do you think you will be in business? Or wouldn't you change something in your business or try to understand your clientele or customers? You see, the world understands this, but people of faith and churches in particular, they don't get that stuff. They don't. It's just, oh, they're worldly, they this and they that. Well, that's why you're going to keep losing people, and many people are not going to be coming to your place of worship, because it is a trend. And we have to analyze their reasons, not our own, not what we think. You got to listen to them. If Walmart was losing customers, or people were not going to shop at Walmart, they'd be doing focus group surveys, all kind of studies. They will be out there asking the people, trying to figure out and ascertain why it is that they're not coming to the store or purchasing particular products. And they will improve those products, make them better, get rid of them. But many times we as a church, we are not ahead of the curve. And that's why, again, economically, we are losing, because, again, even people's giving habits and giving trends are different. We don't study and analyze it. In the pews every week, you got to still do all of those things. Don't get me wrong. Again, there are some things that will stay, but they're being phased out. Passing this plate for people to give. Folks don't give that way anymore. The majority of folks do not give that way anymore. And some churches still don't even have a website to give. People are giving through, different things like Cash App and stuff like that. Churches are not even there. We also have one way of giving, and it's still paper. I mean, I hardly carry paper. You know what I mean? I don't even see cash myself sometimes. Now, some folks get scared and say, oh, well, cashless society. Get over it. Listen, folks, things are different. You don't even shop a lot with cash. We all shop with this currency that's electronic. And so the business world can teach us a lot there. And we're not saying you're going to secularize the church. No, but what we are saying is that the church must make some changes, especially with technology. Every church should be having an online presence and producing content for people through courses, digital products, programming services, blogs, and all of these things, podcasts, all of these things. The church must have them today. Because here's the problem. When the church do not have these things, people need the information and they find it other places. And again, the places they're finding this knowledge and information from are generally not the voices of spiritual authority. And that's why now they come in the church. Then they have these secularized ideas and humanistic ideas and philosophies, because they didn't learn them from us. They got them from other places, because we did not cater to them in that regards. So, but people will search for information and knowledge that pertains to their life. So we must become practical. We must become relevant. Our preaching must be multifaceted, just like health, where we deal with the physical, emotional, mental, and so forth. The church must also deal beyond just the spiritual aspect and provide knowledge and information from scripture that deals with the physical, emotional, mental, professional, and all these areas of life as well. The word must be relevant and practical to the people's life. Furthermore, we must not only gather for information exchange, but we must gather for transformational exchanges and experiences. The church must be a place where people can come for more than just a worship service. People must be coming to the church to transform their physical, spiritual, mental, emotional life, and also they must be gathering in places of worship, particularly for fellowship. That right there is why people love to congregate in crowds and in masses, because of the camaraderie, because of the, that experience, not just simply to sit down and listen to one person give them a speech or something like that. So we're going to see more of that. Then we're going to see more closing of retail businesses because of the shopping trend again of most people shopping online. Now, again, I don't believe entirely we're going to get rid of brick and mortar, but there will be less and less brick and mortar establishment. And that will create an avalanche of other opportunities that people now will have to retool to be able to learn digital skills, data mining skills, technology. Because here's the thing, health will always be something that's prevalent. We're going to see more mental health, by the way, challenges as we go forward in 2020, because again, technology creates a false way of living, and it's temporal, but it has blinded our eyes to some other aspects. So it's great. I welcome and embrace technology in all of its aspects, but then we cannot ignore the negative aspects of it. So because of, again, we have more friends on social media than we have in real life. We put up facades like life is great when it is not great in reality, but we put up these facades online because that's everybody want to show their good side. But the reality, the marriage is broken, the health is broken, financial is broken, relationships are broken, and we just think that we don't, we'd like to say, oh, this is a picture of my wife and so forth. Now you and your wife are probably not even having good discussions. So these are the kind of things that we're looking at. So I think we have media addictions, we have all kind of new addictions. The technology itself, even the blue light, that stuff should have been fixed already, but that creates, throws off our circadian rhythms, all of these problems. So those in the healthcare field will see new opportunities in mental health, psychiatric nursing, psychiatric this, psychiatric that. So we're going to see a growth in those areas. So if you have young people who are trying to figure out what they should do for a career, the health field will always be something great, plus also technology. Anything in technology is going to be awesome. But again, you want to look at the things that are driving society. So you look at biotech. Again, healthcare is becoming so technologically sophisticated. So that creates, again, what new opportunities for new products, programs, and services to service all facets and all industries. So technology is necessary for transportation, agriculture, healthcare, education, all of these different industries. You need technology. So anyone who wants to, again, instead of complaining about technology is taking away jobs, you should be thinking about how can I retool myself and begin to develop a secondary skill or career in technology or in the healthcare field or industry. So therefore, we're going to see more school closures, again, especially for faith-based ones, because of what's happening in our culture. We're going to see a lot of faith-based communities that cannot stay afloat because of the changing values of society and morality within the society. So I predict that we will have more faith-based institutions closing, but that does not mean we're not going to have, I think there's going to be more closures too in regular schools, because technology now is the main income driver. So those schools and organization that wants to stay afloat with the brick and mortar model will have to also embrace technology and begin to have an online presence and teach online. Whatever you're doing in the physical, you should be doing it in the digital as well if you want to stay afloat. Now, you can thrive and do well if all you do is digital, because that's really where the society and culture is going. But if you want to have the brick and mortar, the physical establishment, then you don't have an option, I feel, with not doing the digital side of it. If you want to stay totally brick and mortar, then you have to become totally focused and niched and to provide for a specific clientele that really don't use much of the technology. And so that's where you have some folks like maybe preppers and different things, doomsday folks and so forth. There is a niche there, conspiracy theory folks, but they still utilize technology. That's how they use most of their shopping anyhow. So, catch 22. So we're going to see a greater emphasis on e-commerce, online shopping, online businesses. So because of the proliferation of technology, and again, we see that a lot of the revenues that are being generated online. Because think about it. I mean, if you go back to Alibaba in 24 hours, that generated almost $40 billion in 24 hours. One company, folks, one company, right? And so when you look at that, you realize again, most of our shopping, we shop online. Everybody almost, especially in America, we all have Amazon accounts. We have Amazon Prime that delivers it to you in 1 to 2 days. There are now services where you can try on even the clothes and return them. So that reduces the need for one to go out. Now, I had a friend when we were doing the Monetize You show, my co-host actually, she, for months at a time, she didn't leave her house because everything she needed was delivered to her house. All of her grocery shopping was done online and they delivered them to her house. So we see different companies, Walmart, where I'm at in Texas, HEB, they are now introducing even delivery services. So we can see more of that. But so I think whatever you do or want to do, if you're a church, a nonprofit, you must begin to have a presence online, increase your technology. So with the increased use of technology now, it creates more income and more jobs as well, because now you need more cybersecurity. You're going to need more advertising because to attract people, you're going to have understanding of different means of reaching out to people, whether it's social media advertising, all forms of digital advertising, video ads, click ads, all of these different type of things, SEOs. You're going to need more of that. So we're going to realize now that companies will have to hire more and more people to do their media and to do their marketing because of, again, it's not, there are many similarities, of course, to brick and mortar. So even spirituality, again, that's another area. Most churches do not pay for advertising. They should, and they need to be paying for advertising because, again, if everyone is finding information in the digital verse and they're looking for content digitally, then the church must also find whether it's in those or you hire, but you must train people in the church to become digital marketing specialists because that's how people are being, reached or know about whatever. For example, here we've done so many different events, but again, we've seen a reality that most people are not coming to events because they don't know, or we are using outdated means of reaching them. We're still sending paper to them in the mail, and most people, that's not how you reach them. But you can reach them instantaneously, even right around your church, by just posting video ads and different ads on Facebook and stuff like that. So you got to begin to utilize this. So again, those are some of the trends. So online education is going to increase. By the way, are you aware now? We're not talking about even just academic. We're talking about education as a whole, where people are learning all kind of stuff. The education industry actually is over $1 billion a day. A day is being spent on online education, right? Like I said, even myself, I'm still learning. Doesn't have to be to a school in the sense of degree programs, but stuff that people want to know. I have thousands of dollars worth of courses. I am right now enrolled in courses because I want to learn. So people are no longer having again to wait for some school or whatever or semester system to enroll at this time. They can enroll at any time. So there's Udemy, there's Coursera, Kajabi, all these different places where people are going to get courses, teachable. So many places where people are able to get stuff. So those are some of the things. Now we're going to see a greater emphasis on globalization and economics because the world is being connected more and more globally. Okay, most of my projects, especially when it comes to digital products, it actually is a global team, right? It's not just simply here, it is a global team. Most of my folks, I don't get to see them physically, but we communicate via technologies and so forth. So and we can create a whole bunch of products quickly without having to be physically present. So that is what we see going to see more of again, because again, like you said, and some of the emerging countries are gonna, because all the countries that has like billions of people, those are going to be a force to reckon with. Like China, of course, is one of the major players now, but you're going to have to look for Brazil and India coming up, many other Asian countries, and Africa, and the continent of Africa collectively. So Africa has many countries, but we're looking at it like a collective, right? There are billions of folks there as well when you pretty much put all of them to all the countries and nations together. But we are looking at, again, you see a lot of emphasis now on globalization and technology and so forth. So that is allowing these emerging markets. So for those who have wealth in the church, I would say if you are able to invest globally and do it, because those are some of the upcoming places and upcoming trends as well. And so do that. More videos, more media, as you see that's happening now, where more again direct to consumer. This is why again the church has a problem, because now people is direct to customer, direct to consumer, meaning they're trying to reduce as many barriers as possible. No longer you have to go through the gatekeepers, and that's what we say with the church. It's always been we go through the gatekeepers, the pastors, and the church, the denomination. But now people go straight to the customer. So you look at even like, for example, there's Netflix. Bam, I have my account right there. I didn't even got to wait on commercials and stuff like that. All the major streaming services out there now, all the major companies are doing streaming. Disney, you can stream, you get an account, but people think even with a small amount of money, for example, let's say Netflix, I think is about what, $9 to $11. But when you have 100 and something million subscribers, that's $1 billion+ in a month. Do the math. So we're looking at, no wonder these companies are killing it, because everyone is direct access and people are consuming more and more videos. So again, if you want to make it online or you want to do anything, you have to invest more in videos, okay? And you yourself probably watching more videos. So people want visual stimulation, they want quick access to information, and that's what we are going to see. Now, this one might be something that is might be a little bit left field, but one thing I would also caution is that there's a possibility of an economic crisis or an economic collapse. That's not to scare us, but those are some of the things that we are seeing happening as well. And I brought a major economist here where we lived about a year or so ago, and he presented something along those lines for us. But we seen that there are many talks about that as well. One of the reasons why that always should be something that concerns us too is because of this, my friends. The more digitized things get, also there's always an underlying current. Okay, when you can see stuff, trust me, assume there's problems happening underneath. It's like an iceberg, right? We don't see what's happening underneath the water. So because again, like we said, we are a capitalistic society and it has its ups and downs. But the thing is, again, because the transactions, people are not utilizing currency in the sense of what you can see. So what we are doing is we are living on credit and we are living on false money, as it were. And so I call that being on crutches, because when you cannot see these things, people overindulge, people splurge. So you think about it, even for example, we here in the US, trillions of dollars in debt. There's absolutely no way in this lifetime that we will ever be out of that. We can never pay that off. So generations into the future are already indebted, even not being here, because we make plans and goals based off projections and the amount of people that a nation has. So that is something where, and again, every couple of years we see this cycle in the market. So that's why, even though I've grown in the area of economic knowledge, I still think it's wise in many cases to be as lean as possible, in the sense of as less debt as possible, and owning the key things of life, your home and the things that you depend upon and need. You should own them, right? So again, I'm for balance. Okay, I've learned that, but at the same time, I recommend, again, every institution, every individual, every family, place of worship should seek to become economically strong Number one is you have to, not be dependent upon debt because of the decline in so many things. The people, as people are declining with the churches, there's no way you can afford to keep the church together. And that's why, again, people even get, so that creates an adverse effect because every time you go, give me, give me, give me, we need money, money, money. And people are turned off by that because, but they're bleeding. But one of the reasons you're bleeding is because you don't have the support that you once had. And so therefore that must create an economic problem. Now you cannot serve the community. Now the community finds you relevant because you're in the community, but you're not doing anything for the community. And so you see how all of that creates a ripple effect. So I would recommend, if you are economically strong, to own some of your things, especially a home where you live should always be something that you think of owning, cars, or basic things that you need to function. And and think about how long can you function without more income. Then secondarily, are you building generational wealth? You have to think about that, for the next generation. And also emerging markets, as we mentioned, you know, put some roots down in other countries that are viable, that are politically stable, that are good to people of faith. That's another thing I noticed. People don't want to say, but I've noticed that people and places that are generally good to people of faith, or spiritually whole, or allow for freedom of expression in that area, they generally thrive somewhat better than nations that do not. You can check that out. That is something that, again, they don't do a lot of research on that because it's politically incorrect. But nonetheless, reality is reality. Okay, so those are all that I have for you. Again, I encourage you to go to strategicsecrets.com/vision 2020, strategicsecrets.vision 2020, and enroll in our visionary strategy that's going to be taking place next week. Next week, which is the first Thursday, January the 2nd, 2020, 1 week from today, we are going to be having a strategy session live. I'm going to be here. I'm going to try to, like I said, meet with a group of people here locally. We're going to stream it, but you have to have one thing minimum. You need to have a journal, some book that you're going to write down your vision. We're going to go through it. We're not going to be one-sided. We're going to be multifaceted. We're going to talk about your health, your finances, your spirituality, your academics if you're a student, your professional if you're a career and you're in business, ministry, or have a job. How can you succeed in those areas of life, and how we're going to do it strategically, how we're going to set goals. So I'm going to teach you goal setting the way I do it, and I'm going to teach you some other people's strategies and how you can bring it together. Why am I able to do this? Because I have accomplished a lot, I believe. Okay, not bragging and boasting, but I know how to set and achieve goals. I have achieved a lot of stretch goals. Not only that, but I've been in the military. I'm a military man. I've learned from the best. As you can see, I'm also an avid reader. And so I believe that I'm equipped in this area to help you. And the reason I'm doing this, consider this as, again, this is my out of the pulpit work to help and impact the world, making a difference in people's lives like yourself who can go out there and make a greater impact. I am not limiting myself to just simply my own sphere of influence, but I want to influence you. I want to impact your life so that you can in turn impact other people's life. So I encourage you, no matter what you do, figure out how to monetize your skills online, figure out how to reach more people, serve more people, and you will be blessed for it. So the website is strategicsecrets.com/vision 2020, the number 2020. You go there. And so what I'd like you to do, when you go there, there's going to be a sign up thing, but it's pay whatever you want. Now, this is something I'm experimenting with as well. So I want you to make a commitment. This is like a little covenant with yourself to do it, because sometimes when we put our money where our mouth is, but I'm not charging you a specific amount. I'm just saying, based on what you want to achieve, what you want to accomplish, and what you can get out of this, go ahead and do that. If you want one of our journals, hey, you can give a certain amount there as well, but give enough that covers the cost of the book. So what we're telling you here, at least for shipping and handling. But the hardcover is $25, $24.95, let's say $25. Okay, and the soft cover is $14.95 or $15. Okay, so you can get soft cover or you can get hardcover. That's the least you can do to invest in yourself. Like I said, I've got a ton load of journals, and so I don't put a price on my knowledge and bettering myself. If it's for the better of making me better, better leader, better husband, better this, better that, I'm for making the investment, whatever the cost may be. So so that's another thing we need to teach in 2020, how to value yourself and how to be able to invest in yourself without having always to ask how much it costs. That shouldn't be the first question. First question ought to be, is this relevant to my life? How will this make an impact? If you first put yourself in the position of this, I am valuable and I need this, it will bless me and help me and bless other people, then the how of affording it will show up. Okay. Well, God richly bless you. Again, I look forward to seeing you on next week. Please share the word. Share this video with friends and family. Share the website, strategicsecrets.com/vision 2020. Anyone who wants to get on there, learn how to take their life to the next level, make 2020 the best year of your life or one of the best year of your life, where we're going to stretch you, where we're going to think about what can I achieve by the power of God in a powerful way. Stop playing it small. 2020 is your year to actually become the best version of yourself, to take it to the next level in your career, in your finances, in your health, your relationship, whatever have you. Why not say in 2020, I've stopped playing it small. In 2020, I want to accomplish more. I want to do more. I want to be more. I want to experience God's best, God's fullest, because many of us are playing too small. And 2020, we cannot do that anymore because the world is going ahead of us and we got to move like with lightning speed. But guess what? We have God, we have the Holy Spirit, we have ministering angels that excel in strength. And it says, the word says that God's people in the last days will be able to do exploits. So now is the time for the church and for people of faith, for you, professionals, entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, for us to take the bull by the horn and lead God's people forward into greatness, not just simply sitting down waiting for things to happen, hoping for things to happen, wishing for people to change us, the government to do our work for us. No, it is time for you and for me to rise up and say, God, here we are. We are your people. You promised so much. There's no need for us to get so little. We want to become the leaders and the authorities that you said that we are supposed to be. Give us the wisdom, knowledge, and the understanding that we need to be able to make the difference. And trust me, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding are all there. But you and I must change. For things to change, you must change. For things to get better, you must get better. For things to improve, you and I, we have to improve. So 2020 is your year, my year. Already? This is going to be the third consistent year of us taking this monetize your skills weekly into the next level. We want to up level. We want to make a big difference. We don't want to hold back anymore either, because in some ways we have been. But as we mentioned today, we want to up level. We invested in technology. Want to team up with people who have great followings, and we want to go out there. If you want to follow us with on this journey, please join us already. But you have to start by going to invest in yourself. Go to strategicsecrets.com/vision 2020 and let's plan out the year together. That's the first step. If you take that first step, then the rest of the steps are easy. If you want to be an ambassador, if you want to help us create content and resources that will take your life to the next level, all ambassadors, by the way, if you become an ambassador, you don't have to buy any content from us anymore. You don't have to buy any resources, because as someone who supports us every month, every time we create a book, a course, or whatever we create, you get access to it. We give you a free copy, so you don't have to even buy any of our books anymore when you become an ambassador. You don't have to buy any course that we create, because no matter how expensive it is, as an ambassador, you get all those together. So go to strategicsecrets.com/ambassadors and learn more about all of that. God bless you. Thank you for joining us in 2019. I pray that your year ends well with a bang and you begin 2020 also with a bang. May God richly bless you. May you have a prosperous and bright and a happy new year in the power of Almighty God. Thank you, and I'll see you in the new year.